Hey, my friends, Curry DK here with you guys. Episode numero cuatro. Did I say that right? Four. Either way, two dudes talking podcast. So thank you so much for being here with us. We love doing these. They're really easy to do. They're fun to do. And if you're watching this video, go ahead, smash that subscribe button. Also, maybe, hey, hit that bell icon so you get notified anytime we upload a new episode like episode 4 today. And also we started doing some shorts. You might have seen some of those out there. We're moving up in the world. We're using this thing called technology. It's pretty fun. So we're going to talk about a topic today that is near and dear to our hearts on many different levels, and that is building relationships. Now there's maybe a how we see it as a good way to do this. There's maybe not so good ways to do this. And this could be a topic that we could probably talk about for 7 days straight here. Curry, what do you think? Building
Dude,
relationships. When you just say that word out loud, when it comes to network marketing, your business, everything that you've experienced over the years, what is the first kind of thing that pops in your head when it comes to building relationships?
pain and waste of time. That's what it comes to mind. Like that's
I
totally
thought you were going
like
to be sincere and talk about something
well,
heartfelt, but that's,
I got to be honest. I mean, I grew up in this industry over the last just 10 years. I've only been in this industry 10 years, but in this last 10 years, the whole focus shifted. Like when I started, we were taught this weird word form,
hmm
FORM, family, occupation, recreation, and money. And it was a way to, if you were standing in line at a grocery store and you were just talking to a complete stranger, you could form them to see if they had an interest in what it is that you had to offer. So
hmm
you didn't just blast everybody with your offer. You just didn't verbally vomit. You took the time to get to know somebody before you presented the information.
hmm
Well, times have dramatically changed, and now we're all on a social media platform, and I use Facebook almost exclusively. And people now give their form on their profile and timeline. So I can literally sort through people and see what their job is, see what their family is like, see what their
hmm
latest pictures, see what they went on vacation. I can just take, I don't know, less than 30 seconds, look at a profile, determine if there's somebody I might want to work with, and then I just go message them. I
Yep.
just go send them a message. And it's not a verbal vomit message.
Yep.
It is an are you open message. And I just believe now the concept of building a relationship to get a sale to me feels ultra dirty. Like it feels like if you're going to waste the time in
hmm
your life to ask them, hey, how's your mom and them? Hey, what's going on with your kids? You don't know them. You don't actually know anything. Like, and you're just coming at them with these relationship building questions before you even know anything.
hmm
It's just it feels so backwards, like it's reversed. So I build relationships on the other side, and we can talk about that later. So I'll let you jump in and because it's hilarious to me that people are teaching this still.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes me back to when I first got started, where you guys have probably heard this 1,000 times in your life, but you got to build, you ready for it? Know, like, and trust. How many times, how many times have we heard
I
that where it's
almost
like,
said it. I almost said it too, and I
yeah,
didn't say it.
yeah, I knew, well, you were dancing on the outskirts there of the rim. So yeah, you got to build, know, like, and trust. You got to create those relationships before you get people to join you. And both of us can sit here and tell you with stone cold hard truth that you don't got to do that. You don't. For me, it's like you said, I think we're on a very similar plane here when it comes to how we handle ourselves and especially how we manage our time and also how we manage our relationships. Because for me, it's the same exact way I present my information. And this is where like I think you and I are different. Like we're on a similar pathway, but we just have different, we'll call them income producing activities. You and I have different activities as of how we get people to join, where you're in the message box, you're doing that specific thing. I'm doing video. I'm doing, like, as an example, a short form video. So I'll take someone, I'll go create, whether it be a Facebook reel or an Instagram video or a TikTok video, and it's like, boom, here's my quick 30 to 60-second hook, whatever it is. I get someone over to a long form video, and that's the whole point of a short form video, guys, is you take someone from a short form video to a long form video. In other words, a presentation, which we've mentioned here before. Someone watches the presentation and then they hit me up and say, "Hey, I'm ready to get started." So my income producing activity is reversed, where they're hitting me up and saying, "Hey, I'm ready to get started." And when they do, my initial interaction is, "Great, here's the link. Let me know after you've signed up so I can get you plugged in." And it's about as short and sweet as you can get. There's no like, "Oh, cool. Tell me, Billy Bob, where are you from? Do you enjoy baseball? Do you enjoy going to, you know, hockey games? Like, what's your favorite restaurant?" Like, do I even
Yeah.
bother with any of that stuff when they say, "Hey, I saw your video. I'm ready to join"? Like, why would you go
When,
down that rabbit hole? Why wouldn't you just say, "Cool, here you go, sign up"? I,
I think we've lost the concept of what know, like, and trust is, because I endlessly buy from Amazon. I endlessly buy from eBay. I
uh-huh.
endlessly buy from Facebook ads that pop up and tell me, "Hey, you need these shoes, you need these things." And it's like, I don't know who's selling it. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know what shipping method they're going to use. I don't know anything about them. What
I
I
got a
find is
fantastic example with that too.
what I find is that people buy when they become aware of something that they want.
hmm
And until they are aware that you have it, they don't need to know anything about you, the company, the background, where it's shipped from. It's like none of that matters to them. People buy today when they see something they want and know that they can get it from you. That's
hmm
it's like that's what our job is like get out of the way and let them know you got something that they could possibly want.
Yep.
Go ahead
Yeah,
with your
perfect.
story.
A perfect example of that is, when it comes to, like, when you want something, when you need something, you just go get it. And my wife and I use Walmart Plus. It's a fun little app you have on your phone, just like Amazon, just like anything. And, we have obviously a local Walmart down the street, and with Walmart Plus, they deliver. So we'll go through the app and we'll say, "Oh, I need some broccoli, I need some eggs, I need some cream, get some cheese, get some this, that, whatever." And then in the store, someone takes out their phone and they see our order and they start shopping for our personal stuff. And then that same exact person puts the stuff in bags, drives it in their own car, and they deliver it and drop it at our front door. Now, do we go, "Oh, hey, let me interview this person. Let me see if let me see if this is a decent person, if they're qualified to shop for my groceries"? We don't give a shite about that
We
because
don't. I
we
use it
pressed
every
the
day.
button and they brought it to us, and that's all that matters. Like, you wanted it, you got it. There you go. You don't need to know the story of how it got there. The point
Let,
is,
let me tell you,
it got there.
let me tell you, it gets worse. I've almost paid for the extended service that lets them put it away for you. There is an additional service that you can pay for
Yeah.
that they'll come into your house and put it away for you. And I've almost got to that point. I'm like, I'm just going to let them do it all. Just let them all. It's hilarious.
Oh man, but yeah, it's funny because you think about examples like that and then you take it back to your business, and it's like this is the point where it's just we've talked about this in other episodes where it's like you're breaking the mold, breaking the mold of, this is what I think I should do, this is what I've been taught I should do, but it's not what I should go do. It's like, you're just your job, and you said it brilliantly, and I think it was last episode. We just did a short on this, which, by the way, if you guys aren't watching our shorts, maybe go watch our shorts, give them a thumbs up. Um, you talked about, in the history of things, your job is literally to present the information and you're not responsible for the outcome of what happens after that. If people say no, oh well, you move on to the next person. You don't need to be like, "Oh, well, hang on, let me explain why let me break it all down for you." It's like, no, the information that you're presenting gives you all that information. You don't need to explain on top of that. You don't need to like be like, well, if we get to know each other, maybe then it's like you just have to take all of that stuff that you've been trained on and think what might be the right way to go and just present the information and move on. Does that make sense?
Uh, it does. And I love that you brought that up because how many times do all of us look at a person who just said no, and then immediately in our head we just go, well, maybe you didn't understand it. Let me try to re-explain it. let me
Yeah.
let
How
me
can I
try to,
convince you?
yeah, how do I convince you? That's right. And it's like, no, there is too many people on this planet. Why are you wasting your time trying to trick, trying to convince, trying to, hey, look, for me, when I got started in my very first network marketing company, a guy talked to me in 2012 and I said no. Now, I knew what he had, I knew what he was doing. And in 2014, my life had changed. And all he did was saw that I posted something on social media that resonated with what it was he was doing. And he just said, hey, look, take a look at this one more time.
Hmm.
You're in a different place, you're in a different mindset, things are going different. And he didn't try to convince me. He just said, watch this one more time.
Hmm.
And it was peaceful, no stress.
Yep.
And I was never, for 2 years, he didn't try to wear me down. He didn't try to ask me every 5 minutes. He didn't try to convince me, oh, you just don't understand. He
Yep.
just, I was a number. I was a number. I wish that people understood that it's okay to be a number. And I ended up being somebody who duplicated to the umpteenth power. But, you know, people, I just learned I didn't need to beat people up. I want to build relationships with leaders in my team.
Hmm.
And before, when we were pre show, uh, we all have those people that are in our team that we will give anything for. Like
Yep.
when somebody in my team calls me and says, "Hey, I need this. Hey, can you use your credit wallet? Hey, can you help somebody? Hey, can you talk to the owners? Hey," it's like, yes, I will. It's my only job when
Yep.
I, as a leader, to serve my team
Hmm.
and to be whatever they need me to be. If they ask for something, I'm there to be in that relationship with them. And it's the way I've just built for the last 8, 9 years.
Hmm. Yeah, it's the way I look at it is very similar where, and I'm thinking of like a lot of different things here at once, but like I'll take you guys to like the end result here. I have leaders that I've had on my team for years, people that I've known and worked with for years. And, those are the types of people that I don't, I will not get on the phone with anyone. I will not open up that door and let you into my personal world with anyone. And I think a lot of people have that misconception, or maybe that's just how they think. I'm not sure, but because sometimes you'll get those messages. Someone will watch a piece of my content, and I leave my phone number on most pieces of my content, and people will text me and they'll say, "Hey, please call me." I'm like, "I ain't calling you." I was like, "I don't know you. I have no idea. You've seen my content, yes or no? Do you want in? No. If not, okay, cool. I'm not gonna, you know." fall into that time vampire mode which you had mentioned where people just want to like ask me a billion questions when all of the information is right there. And they could say, I need to talk to you. And I'll be like, no, you want to talk to me. You don't need to talk to me. There's a difference. Understand it. But on the flip side, I've had people, like I mentioned, that I've worked with for multiple years, and I will literally do anything, single moms and stuff like that, where it's like I've had tearful, heartfelt, very long conversations with those people and basically just said, "What do you need? How can I help? What can I do for you? Let's figure this thing out." And I will go extensively out of my way to help those people. But in order to get from just starting to this point, this is kind of how I see it. Curry, you can let me know how you see it too. But like when someone comes in the door, just because you get started doesn't mean we're going to be besties. Doesn't mean, we're going to be BFFs and, go out for dinner every night. Like you got to earn your seat at the table. You have to come in and go to work. If you're like the vast majority, which may sign up and, sit there and just wish and hope and pray that they make $1 million overnight, cool, you know, but you need to get in there and you need to go to work. You need to prove your worth. You need to, show that you're going to put your head down. You're going to work. You're going to do the thing. You're going to follow directions and you're going to be worth us creating that relationship and opening up those doors and having those conversations to get to the point where it's like, yeah, we have a great relationship because we're on the same path. We're on the same headed for the same thing. We're working together as a unit to make this happen. And therefore, yes, I will open up my doors for you.
Listen, the way that I see this is just the way that I was brought up in this. I didn't have immediate access to top level leaders in a company from day one. You were literally working with your upline or, a tinier group of people, and the upline. Sometimes because we put our phone number out there, or we put our contact information out there, people want to contact us, just like you said. And it's like, look, start with somebody who's at the level you are.
Hmm.
Well, it's like don't look at a person at the highest level and want to have an expectation they're going to teach you basics when you should be learning basics from people still doing the basics. Because I'm not doing the basics anymore. I'm not at that basic level. I'm It's like you said, we're over here building content, we're building websites, we're building video, we're building all this stuff, and that's
Hmm.
not the basics. That's just like that's that higher level. You know what I really love? I love when people message me and tell me how busy they think I am. That's my favorite thing that they message me. And I'm like, do you understand that I got to a point where I'm aware you should be busy.
Yep.
Like you should be the most busy person. I'm on the beach over here. I'm sitting on my couch watching every episode of Star Trek for the next 6 weeks. It's like I'm enjoying life because I put forth the massive amount of effort on that
Hmm.
front end. And so it is funny to me when they reach out. They haven't reached any rank yet, and they're just like, hey, I want to, what do I need to do? Well, go work with your upline. That's what you need to do. Go
Hmm.
work with somebody working the same speed as you.
Yeah. Yeah. The conversation starts off, or the text message or Facebook message starts off with, "Hey Daniel, I know how busy you are." And then here comes but I have a question. It's, you know, and it's, that just comes down to someone usually not being resourceful,
Oh yeah.
where they could go to their immediate upline. They could go to Google. They could go to YouTube. They could go to whatever training, they were given. And 99.9% of the time get the answer themselves, but they feel that they have to, go all the way up to, I remember for me, I was one of those when I first got started. I was one of those eager beavers because I wanted to dissect everything, and I saw the people that were, two, three, four, five levels above me, people that were just making crazy money. I almost wanted to like reach out to them and interview them and be like, what do you do? Like, what did you do? And I kind of wanted to go straight to living the life versus doing the things that lead to living the
Developing.
life. And that, so that I was one of those people. And then I quickly learned that before I get there, I got to go do the thing. I got to go present the information. I got to go get the no's. I got to go, invite. And I was more trying to figure out how to work from the top down versus how to work from the bottom up. Um, and that was a very valuable lesson that I learned many, many years ago. But in terms of relationships, it's not the way that I see it, and I know Kurt, you feel the same way. It's not what you think it is, or maybe what you hear, or maybe what your instincts might tell you that you need to build a relationship with somebody first. And the reality is you don't. You just need to get good at presenting the information. You need to get good at the task. Does that make sense, Curry? Where
It
it,
does. I just want to ask the question, and hopefully people put it in the chat or in the chat below. I want to ask, how many relationships do you now have in your journey that you just have people that you now have to know about their family and their barbecues, and you got to know from them from a year ago. You got to know, but now because you developed all these relationships and friendships, and that you just holding on to all these people, how many people are you just holding on to? Like, that's for me. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have my circle is tight,
Mhm.
and I'm happy with that. I'm not trying to have a whole bunch of people, and I've always wondered, like, what are you doing with all these people? That's the part that made me feel gross about it, is that if somebody got to know, how long do I got to keep talking to that person?
Mhm.
I don't want to talk to him anymore. It's like, if you told me no, I'm going to the next person. Like,
Yeah.
and what I love about the way that you and I talked about doing this is, I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know it. I know
Mhm.
that I'm very direct. I'm very short with my process. And guess what? There's going to be people that don't like me, that somebody else, maybe in my team, might end up talking to. And all of a sudden they go, you know what? I heard about this. And they say, I like the way you asked me better. And then they
Mhm.
sign up with somebody else because I set up the initial introduction.
Mhm.
And I don't care if somebody joins in my team, somebody else's company, but if I was able to give them a glimmer of what's possible or what's available, and they find it through somebody, that's great. Like, I feel good about that. I feel good that I'm not concerned about being your friend. I'm more concerned about sharing what's blessed me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's like, that's why my goal is to be a seed planter. From the parable of the sower, I want to be a seed planter, and I don't care about fertilization, watering that seed. I don't care.
Mhm.
No, it's my job to pass out the seed. Where
Yeah.
it lands is not my responsibility.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it's you have to get good at. I think the easiest way to kind of wrap up in a bow this whole topic of building relationships. In the beginning, you plant the seed, aka invite, share, invite and share, invite and share, and just you get really good at the black and white doing of the process. The relationships come afterwards, where traditional society, education, upbringing, whatever it might be, you might think that they're reversed. And in this case, they're not. You just go do the thing, and the relationships will come afterwards. And you have to be
Good
very,
ones.
very, very cautious of who you give your time to. And,
Look at this. Look at this. You and I have never really worked together,
mhm,
but yet we have become friends in this industry. My best friend, my very best friend in the world, was a guy in another team who became one of my team members. And literally, we became best friends.
mhm,
The relationships that you build after, after
yeah,
are way better. Like, just they become like family, like real family.
for sure, for sure.
Oh God.
And I mean, that's what I was referencing, like, with um, one of the single moms on my team, like, just known her for years and would literally do, and I've told my wife this. I said I would literally do anything for this person because she has sacrificed so much. We've grown together, we've built together, we've experienced a lot together, and it's just like, um, it's amazing what can happen. The people that you grow with and build with and develop with and all of those things. And here's, let me take it back to the beginning here real quick is, when you're out there and you're just inviting, and you're sharing and you're inviting and you're sharing, 90 plus percent of the people that join me personally, I don't know. I have no idea who they are. We've never had a conversation. We've never had, any interaction. We didn't go out for coffee. We didn't meet at a Starbucks and sip coffee and decide if this was going to be a good fit. We didn't do any of that stuff. We, I simply went through the process, did the income producing activities, and someone said, some people will reach out and ask me for my link. Other people will go find a way to go get it. Because you got to remember, when you present the information and people want it and they want it bad enough, they're gonna find a way to get it. Whether it be, you're buying a product on Amazon, you're using Walmart Plus, you're, like, oh, you know what? I gotta go find this really cool program I found, or this, my friend told me about this new series I gotta go watch. I don't know what, is it on Peacock? Is it on Netflix? Is it on who? I don't know where it is. I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna go watch it,
Go
right?
find it. Yep.
Yeah, they'll find it, right? And it's like sometimes people bypass me to get into my business. They bypass me and they'll go find my link somewhere and they'll sign up, right?
I'll take a
So
hundred of those people.
yeah, I love those people. You know why? Because they're action takers. You know,
Yeah.
um, all of that happens on the front end, and if it was reversed, if it was the other way around, I mean, I've sponsored thousands over the years. Like, imagine if it was reversed. I would maybe have sponsored 100 or so, maybe,
Right.
you know,
And
but
that's the point that I had at the, in this conversation is the fact that there are network marketing leaders who are teaching
yeah,
building know, like, and trust,
yep,
building relationship. And to those people, it's like, do you not want your business to grow? Do you want your business to move as slow as possible? Like what we're talking about is literally moving fast and allowing the relationships to come because you're developing them as an individual. But you cannot be a leader in this industry and teach people to just grow slow. I still, to this day, I don't know of an individual who has reached a top rank of a company just because they just got in and stuck with it and stayed in. And no, if you've got to move a little bit faster to build a base of people, to find the leaders who are going to grow with you and keep growing, because it ain't going to be your effort. It is never going to be your effort alone that builds your team. It's never going to be.
hmm yeah. And there are. Don't get me wrong. There are incredible recruiters out there that are great at sponsoring people because they're really good at tasking. They're really good at putting their head down and going to work. Maybe they're just a hard worker. Maybe they're good at one specific task. Maybe they're good at inviting. Maybe they're good at sharing. Maybe they're good at doing a short form video, whatever it is. But to build depth, to create the big D, the duplication, the passive residual income, you got to get a little bit beyond that. And that's where the relationships kind of start to come into play because you could be really good at tasking. And like you said, like you could go out there and one of my uplines that I've known for years always refers to it as, we got to go, put food on the table. We got to go make enough money to buy the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's literally how he refers to it as. You got to go make the sale. You got to go get out there and you got to go bring people in so you can at least, pay for your food, right? But if you want to, if you want to build a home, build a castle, build a lifetime, you got to duplicate. You got to go do the thing, and I think that's where the relationships will come into play. So if you're, the whole topic, the whole theme here today is in regards to building relationships. It's secondary to doing the thing. Guard your time, own your time, hold that close to the vest, and manage that wisely. Because if you don't, you're, in my opinion, and I'm just being direct here, you're not going to have the result that you want. You're not going to get to that level of duplication where you could live that life. You could be making 5 figures a month, whatever that income goal is for you. You're not going to get there by opening up your mouth and trying to explain everything, trying to build those relationships, trying to build that know, like, and trust, because it's going to suck up your time and it's going to severely impact your results. Does that make sense?
And it does. And boy, when you open your mouth, that is the end. Like,
Word
stop
vomit.
talking. Like, stop talking. Like that. I wish that I had known some of this in the beginning for me, because
Hmm.
I was a highly analytical, verbal vomiting monster. Like, that's
Yep.
what I did. I literally was like, look at all the savings and look at all the things and look at all the details. And let me show you how you can make money. And let me give you the comp plan. Let me talk about it. And let me talk about it. And let me talk about it. And then I realized, like, this one moment in my business, that one moment, and I was like, I'm done with this. I am killing my analytical side, and
Hmm.
I'm only going to do this one thing.
Hmm.
I'm only going to invite to a resource. And from now on, I'm not saying nothing. I don't care what their questions are. I don't care what their thoughts are. I don't care what their opinions are. My job is just to invite to the resource. And if that's not enough, next, next,
Yeah.
next, next. Dude,
It's
it changed everything.
yeah, it's like I explained in whatever episode it was. Um,
We've been in so many.
I know, right? It's crazy. Pretty soon it's going to be like 117. Okay. Um, I remember, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Yeah, it's like sometimes, to what you just said, like you present the information if they're not interested next, right? Sometimes I present the information to people and they're like, well, I have a bunch of questions, or no, it's not for me, or whatever it is. And it's like, and then I present the information to other people and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I want in. And it's like, same information, two completely different reactions. So, you just got to, again, you're just kind of almost in that like robotic sense of like getting out there and going and doing the thing. And when you immerse yourself in that, I learned this very, very, very valuable, just like you, Curry. I learned a very valuable lesson years ago. When you're in that inviting, sharing mode, your job is never, ever, ever to explain the thing, the presentation, the comp plan, the products, the services, the benefits, whatever that is. That's not your job. You should, when you're either giving or people are wanting to learn more, your job is simply to point to the information. You want to point them to the answer that they're seeking. You never answer it yourself. And I don't remember who I heard this from. Um, Whatever it was a video years ago. I was watching, falling down the YouTube network marketing rabbit hole, and someone was saying, your job is simply to point people to the resource, to point people to the information. Never do you explain it yourself. And that does several things. One, it saves your time. The most important thing, it saves your time. Two, it lends credibility to what you're trying to get them to learn and understand, because you simply reference them to the information and then they go to the information and it's someone other than you presenting it and they're like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. And also, three, and this is what most people don't understand, subconsciously and psychologically, as they're going through this process of learning and understanding the information, they can also now see themselves, oh, well, they didn't have to word vomit me. They didn't have to explain it themselves, which means I don't have to explain it myself. I don't have to memorize the comp plan. I don't have to memorize all the products and the ORIC value and all this other stuff. Oh, what is the you know, like, hey, your protein supplement, how many grams of protein is that? Like, you think I'm going to memorize every single product in my product catalog? Here's the information. you know, you're always,
Dude, that number three is the most important. That number three is even more important than that you saving time. It is literally, like you said, you're showing them
mhm,
because what happens is every prospect is going to think they've got to do what you do. So if they
Exactly.
see you out here posting 600 times on your timeline, they think that they've got to post 600 times. If they see you out here making really long, complicated videos, they think that they got to make long, complicated videos. But if they just see you ask them for a little bit of information, or if you're open, and then you give them a tiny blurb of knowledge, and they see that and they go, well, crap, I can do that. I can
Hmm.
do that. That, like, your number three, man, is the spot on thing that it took me a while to learn. It's like,
Yeah.
stop showing people horrible ways to do this. Stop being the bad example. Just
Yep.
get out, stop. You're in your own way. And all of us are in our own way. We got all of our crap in our head that we think, and it's like, this is where I literally looked myself in the mirror in that hotel room and I said, I'm killing my green side. And I said, I'm done. I am done with this
Yep.
bull crap. I'm going to just do the thing and show people the simplicity of just doing the thing.
Hmm.
And dude, it's those were, I think, even for you saying it, it's like those were those game changing moments when you stop doing the nonsense.
Imagine, like, picture the visual of what we're talking about here. Imagine we'll use Messenger, right? And you're inviting. So you go to invite, hey, are you open to blah, 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 blah. Here's some information. Cool. Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, question. And it literally, you have to scroll for 9 hours to get to the very top of the conversation a day ago when you first invited them. And then you want that same person to, you're still trying to convince them with all the question and answers. You want them to join and then replicate the same process that you just went through. Oh, well, now I got to go learn all the answers to those questions that I just asked and got the answer to. Where's all that information? Where is that stuff anyway? Let me go figure all this stuff out and then maybe I'll start getting to work. Or, hey, are you open to, boom, here's my information.
Here's the information.
Cool. I'm ready to get started. Awesome. Oh, what about this? Oh, it's right here. Click on that. Boom. Okay. And then short, sweet, to the point, and they're like, "Hey, that was pretty quick. That was pretty easy. I could do that."
I
You
could
know,
do that.
so when you look at the visual of, staying on point, staying on task, keeping your, your time close to the vest and making sure that you're staying on point versus blah, blah, you know, verbal diarrhea, um, it's word vomit and verbal diarrhea will never create duplication, where short and to the point can and will. That's
I,
just,
I I love simple scripts, man. Simple scripts that just move people through the process, and you don't think, you don't question. And here's the reality. And I'm going to be honest. I've been in my company for just over 2 years. I couldn't explain one product that we have. I
hmm,
couldn't tell you a price of a product. I couldn't tell you, dude, I don't care. Like, none of that matters to me.
yep.
I know where my resources are. I know where the product's website
Oh,
is. I know where our pay plan is. I don't know any of it. I don't want to know any of it.
yeah.
I want to be the dumbest person in my team. That's my goal. My goal is to be the most ignorant person and
Yep.
just show them you can get to the top of a company by not knowing any of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I think everybody can. Everybody in every company can get to the top of their company just doing the thing and
Yep.
duplicating the thing. Just that's it. Like, there is nothing else.
I think it's funny because I've had people, whether it be on, YouTube comments or reaching out via text or messenger or whatever, and it's like they'll have a question on whatever it is, and I'll say, "Oh, here you go. Here's a video that explains everything." And I've gotten people to say, "Well, why can't you just tell me?"
Oh
And
yeah,
I'll literally say, "Because I don't have all that stuff memorized." Well, you've been doing this a long time. Why don't you have this memorized? And I will literally say, why would I memorize all of this information and fill all my brain with all this stuff that I can look up in 5 seconds? Why would I waste my time memorizing stuff when there's no need?
What at that point you also could ask them, is that what you want to do if you get started? Do you want to know all this stuff? Like what are
Yeah.
you asking me to do? Like
Hmm.
I'm trying to show you that you don't need to know anything, and you want me to know some stuff. I'm trying to show you you don't need to. We we're trying to help people get out of their own way. By the
Hmm.
way, that is the game. That is the whole game. It's like everybody's got their own thoughts and misconceptions and ideas. And we were talking about, pyramid schemes earlier, and it's like people have their own misconceptions. And one of the things that I love about being a leader is that there are going to be times where somebody does have a good question. And what I do so once a week, we give our presentation live. It's the only time we do it. And at the end of that presentation, as the leader, I open it up for their guests to get their questions answered right then and there,
Hmm.
so we can get them out of their own way to make a decision. Because that's your only job, is to give them just enough information to make a decision. We
Yep.
don't like everything else happens after. Everything happens after. Just don't make it complicated. Don't try to trick them. Don't try to
Hmm.
convince them. Just give
I
them the
have,
information.
um, I guess you'd call it an analogy, but we also do a live webinar weekly, and I use the analogy of like, people try to get it perfect. They want all the information so they can have it all memorized and understood and whatever. But at the end of the day, like you either want it or you don't. You either want to do the thing or you don't. You either create the result or you create the excuse. And I tell people, and I ask them for this in the comments before I give them the next half of it. I say, what is your job? What do you do for a living? I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're in retail. I don't care if you're, a doctor making, six figures a year, whatever it is. What do you do for your job? Blah, 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 blah. Everyone puts their job in. I said, cool. I said, your very first day on your job, you just got hired. It's day number one. You filled out all your paperwork, whatever it is. It's day number one. You're on your job. So whether you're a retail clerk ringing a register, you're stocking shelves, you're in the medical field, you're working in a cubicle, whatever it is, whatever your job is, do you know and understand every single aspect of your job on your very first day? And I'll ask people, you know, put a yes or no down in the comments. Do you know and understand every single aspect of your job on your very first day? And it's always every time no's. No, 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 no. I say, great, cool. So why would you think or expect that you can understand every single aspect of how to make money online, how to make money from home, how to build a successful business, whatever you think this is? How would you know and understand every single aspect of that on day one? You can't. It's impossible. I'm still learning today, and I've been doing this for almost a decade. Okay. You need to give yourself grace, have patience, and know that you can learn anything you need to become successful. Training, whether it's videos, scripts, inviting, sharing, doing the thing, comp plan, all this other stuff. You learn that as you go, just like you learn the tasks and things that your job required. And then guess what? Over time, you learn how to do your job good, at least satisfactory, so you can keep your job. And then maybe you learn how to do your job good. And then maybe you get recognized as doing your job good and you get promoted to a supervisor. And then, oh, maybe you're doing good as a supervisor. We're going to promote you to manager. Cool. Now we're going to promote you to, a full-time manager. Now we're going to promote you to, a VP. We're going to promote you to this. You learn how to build and rank up in your job. Same concept applies here, but you
I
can't.
think maybe that's I think that's maybe why I feel good about what I do, is that the last 4 or 5 career changes that I've had in my life, they always told me right up front, look, it's going to take about 2 years for you to feel comfortable in this job.
Hmm.
2 years. Like
Yeah.
they didn't have an expectation for me to just jump in here and know everything, how to do everything. They took me by the hand, gave me a mentor, gave me somebody to work with, showed me here's what you're going to do. Here's some of the tasks. Let's build you through these things. And there was times in my career that I was scared to death to do some of the stuff that I was doing. I
Hmm.
mean, when to just give an example, in the telephony world, when you're working in 911, you are punching down wires, in these 66 blocks. So you'd get these 50 pair wire cables, and every pair has to be punched down to a specific place on this block. And it's like if you don't do them in the right order, you're going to mess up the telephony of a 911 center. And it's like, you got to learn to do this over time. And they gave me grace. They were like, look, you got to learn to do it right. You got to practice.
Hmm.
And that's, so it's like, there's a lot of things that you should be applying in reality versus this weird, got to make $1 million in 10 minute, like, what is that? What is that?
Yeah, where did that expectation even come from either? Anyway.
Right. When did network marketing ever present itself as a get rich quick plan? When? I've never understood that logic. Like, if you aren't making, listen, let's be really honest. If you're not making $1,000 a month uh, in a year, it's okay. It's totally okay.
Hmm.
It's like, you have to understand it is a process of you learning to build teams, not sell stuff, because the income comes through the depth of a compensation plan, not through the front line. And you'll burn out if you're just focused on front line. You've got to build depth.
Hmm.
That's a whole deep conversation. I'm sorry. That one,
Yeah, yeah. I guess tap rooting.
oh, that's a good word.
Tap rooting is every time we
You
do this,
need,
I make a
we,
note for like another episode. It's just
bring up. Let's do next week. Let's do tap rooting and pyramid schemes. I
ooh,
think we could tie both those together
yeah.
to discuss why people think that there's a pyramid involved.
Hmm.
I mean, I am the pharaoh, so I know that I'm at the top of that pyramid. So you know what I mean?
And I'll you know what? We'll wrap up with this because I have a great response to I have a great response that I love. Like it brings me joy to use this response. When people bring up the term, is this one of those pyramid schemes? Is it a pyramid scheme or that's a pyramid scheme? I've seen so many people just, again, we're kind of talking about here's the information, yes or no. No. Okay, next. Um, if they say yes, you point them towards the thing. It's the same concept when someone brings up pyramid scheme because I've seen people make the mistake and they try to, whoa, 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 you don't understand. Let me explain. It's like, nope. When people bring that up to me, my simple response is pyramid scheme meaning, and I just reverse the question and I ask it to them.
Reverse it.
Yep. Pyramid scheme meaning what? Because 99.9% of the people that use that term have no idea what it actually means. It's just
None.
catchy. It's cool. I stuck it to him by saying pyramid scheme. Like, but yeah.
You got
Anyway.
me, buddy. You got me.
Oh no, he busted me. I can't do this anymore.
How is he aware that this is a scam and I'm not, and I've been doing it for 2 years?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Did you do you have information? And I have asked people, I'm like, do you have information that I don't have? Do you know
Yeah.
something cool that I don't know? Yep.
Yeah.
Reversing those questions is the simplest way.
Anyway.
I like the meaning. That's good. I like it.
Yeah. Because it works almost I every time actually.
Are we really wrapping up week 4?
Unless you got
I
more,
only
man.
No, I'm just saying what I love about this, and we mention it always off camera, but we've been in this industry in multiple companies, and we've gotten to know each other, and we've read the books, and we've listened to the audios, and we've been students in this thing, and what we love about what we're sharing with everyone is the simplicity of it. We're just sharing
Mm-hmm.
what we've put ourselves through to help other people. And what I think we want to give to back to the world is some of the stuff that we're going to share with our audiences, our networks, is we're going to give you stuff to regurgitate to your people. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're going to give you real information that we've regurgitated from people that we've learned from to you, and you're going to go do it. And this is simple. Like
Yeah.
this isn't, we talk. We're two dudes talking, and it's just peaceful. And I love this. So, once again, man, thank you so much for having me part of this and inviting me to be part of this with you because I love talking to you
Appreciate it, man. Likewise. And you guys are we're still recording here, so you guys are just I mean, we're just shooting the shit. I mean, that's kind of what it is, you know.
the whole
So
time,
so
the
like
whole time.
to we'll wrap up with this, Curry, to what you were just saying here. Like our goal, with the Two Dudes Talking podcast is, to get you guys to ILT, invest your time, sometimes money, you learn stuff, and then you turn around and you share that with others. That's a concept that we've both applied for years now. It's served us very well, and we hope it will serve you too. So, for Curry, DK here. Appreciate you guys watching. This is episode 4. We'll see you guys next week when we talk about taprooting and pyramid schemes. I think that should be a fun one as well. So, signing off. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to, while you're here, if you made it to this point in the video, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, maybe give this video a thumbs up, and drop your comments down below on what you gained from these podcasts or this episode. We'll see you next time.